What's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a great day today. Just want to thank you so much for tuning in to Real Life Youth Ministry and being a part of what we're doing here.
If you want to stay up to date with everything we've got going on, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at YMRealLife, and then you can like and follow our Facebook at Real Life Youth Ministry.
And if this is your first time tuning in, I just want to say how excited we are to have you guys as a part of this. Excited for you to be joining into this youth ministry. We really want you to be part of the family. There's a QR code somewhere around in this area. If you scan that, we can get to know you a little better. You can send us some prayer requests. We'll be talking to you, reaching out to you.
Well, that's all we have for you. So if you're ready, I know we are. So
let's go.
I hope you guys have been having a great day so far. So I just want to go ahead and dive straight into the message today. So today we're going to be talking about coming out of bad situations unharmed. And how do we do that? Is that even possible? What does that look like? See, most people think that when you're in a bad situation, bad things are going to happen. And of course, there is going to be a lot of bad that happens in our lives because there's good and there's bad in the world, and it's going to come and go. That's just the way the world is. See, but think about it. Have you ever been in a bad situation? My guess is yes, because like I said, good and bad flows in and out of every situation. See, but here's what I want us to talk about today. See, when your shield is built from conviction, you can come out of any situation unharmed. See, and that's a crazy thing to think about, but there's so many stories in the Bible that show us that's true. See, when David, when he was battling Goliath, that's a great story for it. See, in the Bible it says, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin." And this is David talking to Goliath. "But I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." See, David saw the challenge. All the Israelites were scared. They weren't going to do anything. Goliath was challenging them daily, challenging our God, their God, daily. But David was the one who stepped up and said, "Are we going to let this happen? Who is this guy? Who is this person with no covenant with our God that we're going to be afraid of?" See, and that's when he looked at Goliath and he said, "You may have weapons of this world, but I am fighting in the name of my God." And see, when you fight in the name of your God, God doesn't like anything but victory in his name because he is a victorious God. See, and then you have another story where the people come out unharmed when you look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. See, it says in the Bible that they were bound and thrown into this fiery furnace, which in fact had been heated up even more because the king got angry at them for not following his rules. See, but when they came out, the fact that they came out at all is crazy, but when they came out unbound and unharmed. And that's just so crazy. See, what about Daniel when he goes into the lion's den? See, it says in the Bible, it said 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God just as he had done before. See, Daniel kept his conviction towards God, kept praying towards God, even when the king decreed that you couldn't serve and you couldn't praise anybody but the king himself. See, Daniel didn't listen to that. Instead, Daniel kept his faith in God. See, what about the Battle of Jericho? Joshua was leading the Israelites at this time. He was supposed to take this land. They were supposed to have this land. But it was completely shut in. No one could go in and no one could go out. And then God tells Joshua, "Hey man, I've got this plan. And you're going to be marching a lot and there's going to be trumpet sounds and then the walls are going to fall and you've already got these people. This is your victory." Joshua had to follow out those plans and had to have the faith to do that in the middle of everything. See, and that's a crazy thing. And not only did he have the faith to do that, but him and the armies came out unharmed because of it. See, one last story is the woman with the issue of blood. See, in the New Testament, a woman who's had this issue of blood for 12 years, who has suffered and who has gone and spent all she could and seen all the physicians, looks for Jesus and goes, "If I can just touch his garment," not even touch him, but if I can just touch the edge of his garment, I can be healed. And this is what Jesus said to her after he figured out who touched his garment. He said, "Thy faith made thee whole." He didn't say it was him. He didn't say his faith healed her. He said that her faith is what healed her. He said that her faith is what healed her. So here's the thing. What do all these stories have in common? Well, one, yes, all the people come out unharmed. which, like I said, is in and of itself a miracle in these situations. But something else is that they all follow this same principle. Conviction always comes before convenience. See, when you live a life based on your convictions, based on what you believe in, versus when you live a life based on what is convenient to you, you live a much more successful, a much more prosperous, a much more just admirable life. When you can go and you can say, I believe in who God is. I have faith in what He can do. I know His promises. I love His promises. I love Him, and I'm going to follow Him in what He says till the day I die, no matter what situation I'm put in. That is when you're living by conviction. See, convenience is the opposite. Convenience is going and it's being all wishy-washy, and it's saying things like, oh, well, I like God right now and that's cool and this is doing good, but I may not want to pay my tithes because that doesn't really benefit me. That's not convenient for me. Or saying, I love God and I want to be a Christian, but I don't want to pray to Him like every day or even every other day because that's really inconvenient. I'd rather play video games. It's saying, I don't want to spend time reading my Bible. Instead, I'm just going to go and I'm going to go hang out with my friends all day and just forget that. It's instead of doing the things that you do to prove your faith and your love for God, instead of showing it in your actions, instead of living by convictions, you live by convenience and go, well, it's easier for me to do this, so I'm just going to do that. See, and all these stories have that in common. See, David said, what are y'all doing? We serve a God who's greater than this, so you're going to tell me you won't fight the enemy He's having us fight because of why? This man has no covenant with God, but we do. See, and then in the fiery furnace, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they refused to bow down to an idol. They refused to just bow down to Nebuchadnezzar because they were convicted in their hearts and they knew who the true God was, and they were not going to bow down to an idol when they knew that wasn't right. See, Daniel in the lion's den. See, he didn't stop his praying just because the king wanted him to. The Battle of Jericho, Joshua didn't stop his plans because it would have been easier to just go in and get the people together like a normal battle. See, the woman of blood didn't stop. She didn't stop just because there was a crowd or just because people may not have believed in her because she shouldn't have been there. Or even because she was a woman, she kept going because she was convicted in her heart and she knew Jesus can heal me. If I go towards Him, if I love Him, if I find Him, if I do what He says He wants me to do, then I can find that in Him. See, the first thing I want you to take out of what I'm saying today is you can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you react. See, John Maxwell said, if I have a positive life stance, the good and the bad will become better. See, a positive life stance for us as Christians is to look at any situation we're in and go, okay, I may not understand what's going on. I may not like what's going on. I might not feel good about what's going on. But I know that God uses every situation for His glory and for the good of His name. So to have a positive life stance is to go into every bad situation and go, okay, I may not like this, but I'm going to be positive and I'm going to try to find how God is using this in my life or maybe in somebody else's. See, it's a lot easier though for us to do that when we understand what's going on. But the key to being Christian is having faith in God and trusting in God when you don't understand what's going on. Because there's going to be times where you're looking for that positive thing, you're looking for how is God going to use this situation, and you may not be able to find it. But that doesn't mean He's not going to use it. Just because it may not affect you, your life, or your surroundings directly doesn't mean God's not using it for future reasons. It doesn't mean He's not using it for other people that you may not know. It doesn't mean that He's not there, and it doesn't mean that He won't be glorified. See, in Matthew 17:20 says, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. See, when we have such little faith, just a little bit, that's crazy because mustard seeds are like itty bitty. When we have just that amount of faith, we can move a mountain. So imagine what little amount of faith it would take for us to just go, okay, God's going to move in this situation. and just have a good attitude and react well even though we don't feel like it, and to react as God would want us to react as Christ would react even though we don't feel like it. And all it takes is just a little bit of faith, because we're not even moving mountains. We're just moving our own mindset. We're moving our own attitude to what God is doing in our lives, not to how much it stinks that we're going through this. See, the second thing I want you to take away is that you can't control your circumstances, but you can be prepared. See, back in the biblical times, when they had shields, they actually kind of had two. So you could have a shield of wool and of leather, or you could have a shield that's those two things, but it's covered in metal. See, the reason that they started covering them in metal, though, is because when enemies were fighting against each other, they would have these literally flaming arrowheads, these fiery darts coming back and forth, and the metal on it would help quench the fire. But if whenever they only had wool and leather shields, they would burn up because of the flames. See, it says in Ephesians 6:16, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you will be able to quench all fiery darts of the wicked. See, that's part of the scripture talking about how we need to put on the full armor of God. See, we have a shield as Christians that we need to take up and bring with us, and it's the shield of faith. Because the shield of faith, just like the metal shields back in that time, would protect us from these fiery darts. See, wool and leather is convenient, but adding metal takes time and effort. See, but the truth is, if you are convicted to win that battle, you're going to put metal on your shield, because that metal will protect you from those fiery darts. See, it's convenient for us to watch Netflix instead of read our Bible. It's convenient for us to stress eat instead of pray about it to God. It's convenient for us to sleep in on Sundays instead of going to church, or right now even just getting up and watching live and trying to have fellowship online. See, it's convenient for us to do certain things instead of be convicted and do what we say we believe in. See, but that leads me to my next question. What is your shield made of? How are you protecting yourself in these bad situations? How are you going to come out of a battle unharmed? See, when your shield is made up of what's convenient, when it's made of wool and leather, it's going to burn up when the fiery darts come at you. See, but when your shield is made from conviction and it's covered in metal, any fiery dart that comes against you, it may hit you, but it won't burn up your shield. See, in that verse, fiery darts is actually a good reference for bad situations. See, in any situation that comes against us, when we carry the shield of faith with us, when we guard ourselves with this, we can know and we can trust in God that He's got us. That He's going to quench the flame, that He's going to make a bad situation better, and He's going to make a good situation even better. See, God can do so much more than we realize. And when we have that little bit of faith, when we cover up our own protection with God's protection and with faith in God, we're covering our shields with metal so that we can come out of any bad situation unharmed. See, real faith is when we have bad situations in our lives, and instead of saying, oh, well, this stinks and this is terrible and God doesn't love me, it's saying, but even if He doesn't. See, in Daniel 3:18, when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were talking to the king about why they won't bow down to him, they told him, they said, even though you're telling us you're going to throw us in the fire, we believe our God will save us. But then they said, and this is the true sign of faith, but even if He doesn't. See, they had enough faith in God to know, even if we die here, God's using that situation, and God is here with us, and that will glorify our God. See, they had enough faith to say, it's not about me, it's about Him. So He can save us, but even if He doesn't. See, that's having real faith, and you're able to say that because we know without ever seeing. It says in Romans 6:12, the same faculties that yield to sin can likewise yield to God and commit holy acts. Our flesh can be used to sin. We can lust and we can steal and we can murder, we can commit adultery, we can fornicate, we can do all the crazy things that we're not supposed to do. Our flesh can do that. See, but the same way that our flesh can yield to sin, our flesh can yield to our God. We can use our body to bring goods to people. We can use our minds to help others. We can write books. We can inspire. We can bring the gospel to people. We can help communities. We can bring relief. We can make a church. See, the same parts of us and the same situations that we can be in that can be yielded to sin can yield to God and commit holy acts. See, and that's a crazy, crazy thing. See, what I want you to know today is, what I want you to do today is build a shield of conviction. Because when you have a shield of conviction, you can come out of any situation unharmed.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, oh, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 That is who you are.
We were so excited to have you guys join us tonight, and we were so happy that you got to hear the message. Really hope that you got something out of it, something you can apply to your life, something that's helping you in some sort of way.
If you have any prayer requests, text prayer to the number below, and that way we can pray for you.
And that's all we have for you guys tonight. So we'd love to see you next time, and love you. See ya. Bye-bye.